Oh yeah, fantastic world of monster frickers. Hear me out. Chat, would you? Chat, if this little slime octopus monster slithered up to you, would you? Yes? Damn, that was quick. No, would. Now we're talking. Yes, 1000%. Are you serious? Hell no! I know I'm not a woman? Okay, that's base too. Alright, let's check it out. What is this about?
Quick but very necessary note. We're only talking about fantasy in this video.
Okay.
This is not a video about animals or bestiality. Monsters are, very importantly, not real.
Okay.
We are only talking about fictional sentient beings here. Not animals and not analogs for animals. Okay? Okay.
Okay.
Today, I found this. A post to r/hearmeoutbro about Tailbot from Tail Foundry.
Oh, his character.
I always knew this day would come.
Oh no, they want to pork his character.
I've seen the kind of fan art you people make. It's really not news, is it? Like, I'm really not surprised by this. Hear Me Out is such a popular exercise, it's just part of language at this point. You expect to see this kind of thing on the internet. What I didn't expect was to be so fascinated by it. After I found this post, I did a little bit of digging like I tend to do. Did you know that there's an entire subculture around this?
I believe this because people have been trying to pork everything and anything under the sun for millennia now. Yeah, the Japanese, they were drawing octopuses, touching women a long time ago. Yeah, they drew paintings.
I don't mean like a subreddit or a Discord server. I mean a serious capital C culture, which you would never know by the epithet they themselves have adopted. They're not just people memeing on the internet. They're not just horny fans of a fictional
Greek
character.
Mythology. Yes.
No,
yes.
They're monsters.
Nippon started it. No, I don't think Japan started it. Japan definitely did its own thing with octopuses and stuff. However, Greek mythology is kind of crazy. People turning themselves into animals, Zeus turning into a white bull and porking a bunch of women. Yeah. Greece started maybe. I think it could even be earlier than that.
Fuckers. That is what they call themselves. Part of the reason I feel really compelled to talk about this is because...
Chat. When was this video made? 12 days ago. When was Shoe's video made? Shoe on head. 3 weeks ago. Do you think he had anything, like, do you think the algorithm recommended him, like, the Minotaur milking farm? And he was like, you know what, I might as well make a video about it? I don't know, it might be a coincidence. However, like, look at the book cover. Look, it's a Minotaur with a woman. Yeah.
It's not really a niche thing anymore. It has entered fully into popular consciousness. You may have noticed that the monster romance genre is having a bit of a moment right now.
It's having a renaissance. Look, milking farm, it's right there. Look at it.
Find steamy paperbacks about monsters in your local bookstores right there on display out in the open. Robert.
When I went to Barnes & Noble when I was a kid, I never saw this. Never in my entire life. And I actually went there quite often because I would want to look at books that I couldn't afford because I was a kid. Yeah.
Eggers' Nosferatu and Guillermo del Toro's The Shape of Water are big-budget cinematic masterpieces that feature monster fucking as a major plot point.
True.
That Hear Me Out trend where people compare their weirdest fictional crushes blew up last year.
They want to pork Lucario. Okay. Yeah.
you might remember all the cakes.
Yep.
And unlike most online fads,
Oh my god. Oh my god. They don't. They chat. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. This is stolen valor. Furries got so much shit for wanting to pork this fox, but then there's just two normie chicks who are like, yeah, I want to pork the fox. It's fine.
it's still going strong. I'm making this sound like it's all some new thing. It's not.
I'm defending the furries with this one.
Of course. If you look, you'll see it goes back a very, very long time. Demon lovers, seductive sirens, Beauty and the Beast.
Mermaids, yep.
Monster fucking is just as popular and just as ubiquitous as the monsters themselves. For every person who finds one scary, there's another who finds it very much the opposite. Often both at once. Until now, I just kind of thought this was all a joke. It seems that way from the outside. Most conversation about monster fucking kind of is, even among the monster fuckers themselves. But it turns out the actual act of fucking a monster isn't really the thing here. There's a lot more to it. There's a legitimate reason, many legitimate reasons, why this fantasy appeals to so many people and has such staying power.
The fantasy of porking the unknown. Yeah. Maybe if you're like addicted to it, yeah, I could see you getting into it.
And after spending truly far more time than I ever thought I would studying it, I've got to say, monster fucking kind of makes sense. Don't worry. If you don't get it by the end of this video, you will. Just hear me out.
Okay, I'm hearing, I'm listening, ears open. Oh, this animation's really cute. What the frick? It's so well made. Damn. This is nice.
Okay, one thing really quick before we start the video. I just need to say, the Tail Foundry community is full of freaks. 100% certified nasty
Whoa, you can't just call your audience freaks, sir.
Little creatures. While we were working on this video, our team asked—
Is that Final Fantasy? God damn it, you guys. Like, isn't this that fucking character? I forget his name. Yeah, this is Final Fantasy. I know this character.
Working on this video, our team asked them for their thoughts on monster fucking, asked for their hear me out, and just things got wild. A huge thanks to all our supporters who joined in on this freaky little escapade. So fun to read all this stuff. If you didn't know, this is also
hearing you out.
Just a thing that we do. Everyone who supports us gets to join the Tail Foundry team to chat about videos we have in the works. It's so much fun and honestly so helpful. Sometimes we get entire video ideas, like this one, just by having these conversations. If you want to join in, just go to thetailfoundry.com/support.
That's cool.
I hope we'll see you there. Now, back to the video. A while back, we conducted a survey that I think some of you might remember. We asked our audience which monsters they found attractive. The results were interesting. Of course, there were your typical vampires and werewolves, but a lot of you wrote down—
I wonder if you can make a scientific research paper out of this data. You need a larger sample size, obviously. I would say at least minimum 10,000 people need to answer this survey.
Pyramid Head, Cthulhu, the
Cthulhu? Duh, dog, come on! What? How? How's he even gonna do it to you? He's huge!
Xenomorph. You all really—
Xenomorph. Yeah, what that mouth do, though?
Liked the Xenomorph. A few people even put Am in there, the evil supercomputer overlord from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
Then how would he do it with you? What?
It's like hard to even process some of these.
No, I'm serious. How do you do— Real freaks picked AM, but like how? USB cable. Oh my god, insert your USB cable into me!
If there's one thing I've learned from the monster fucker subculture, it's that there truly is someone out there for everyone.
He's mentally porking you. Okay, I got it. Yep.
Name any monster you want. There's guaranteed to be at least one person out there who wants them. One thing I keep hearing is that the sheer variety is part of the appeal. there are countless monsters to choose from and countless ways to fantasize
There's the centaur, or the minotaur, sorry.
about them.
Yep.
The one thing every monster has in common, though, they're pure fantasy. So far removed from reality, you can imagine being intimate with them in any way you want. Which means that, scary as they may be, monsters are actually a relatively safe way to explore your desires.
Yeah,
Although I
sure.
myself have precious little experience with it, I gather that intimacy is really hard to figure out, even between humans. When you look at another person, it's hard to tell what they're like on the inside. How can you tell if someone's really your type?
Well, when you foster a relatively antisocial society, which we are at the point now where people don't want to talk to each other in real life, and you can easily talk to people on Discord who also share your common hobbies, and also to an extent, I would say a lot of people also like share their really intimate, like, personal desires. You can find people that have a lot in common without having to be embarrassed about it in real life. Like, imagine you walk up to someone and they're like, oh, I like D&D, and then you say, oh, I want to pork this D&D character, and then they look at you and they're like, what the hell? In real life, that would be extremely mortifying and embarrassing, whereas if you go on Discord and you say that to someone, they just ignore you, or they, I don't know, they mute you, or you leave the Discord because you're embarrassed. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
If you fall in love with someone only to find out that they aren't who they seem to be.
Yeah.
Monsters aren't really like that. They don't really have that much to hide. 9 times out of 10, you can look at one and immediately tell that it's a monster. They wear their fangs on the outside.
Yeah.
When you put it like that, it almost makes them sound more approachable than...
Yeah, but they're also fantasy, so you can insert your own ideas of what the character might be like without, you know, imposing that they're a human being in real life that has different reasons or, like, different desires. Yeah, again, this goes back to it being a fantasy, so, like, you can impose a personality on it that you want. Maybe Cthulhu's actually a really nice guy. He likes baking cookies or something. Yeah, like, yeah, it's created by you, the creator, the author, and you can find like-minded individuals that will like what you write about this character. Whereas a person, they might not be like that way. And I think that's, like, where you kind of toe the line of, like, morality, I would say. Like, you can't impose this kind of fantasy on other people because you will be disappointed.
People, doesn't it? Monsters only exist in your imagination.
Exactly.
They're safe
Yep.
and knowable. They aren't real. In a way, I suppose you could say it's easier to fuck them.
Whoa, okay.
If you really want to understand monster fuckers, there's one movie in particular I've heard is pretty much required viewing.
Okay.
It's a little 2017 flick directed by Guillermo del Toro called The Shape of Water. The film was, forgive the pun, a bit of a watershed moment for this culture. It was a piece of mainstream media that treated monster fucking as a legitimate fantasy, a mature fairy tale where the beauty gets her beast and they live happily ever after.
Okay.
It's not treated as
I actually never heard of this.
joke for once, or as some sort of exotic fetish. It's a metaphor, and a good one. The Shape of Water is very interested in the concept of otherness.
I watched this and it was strange. And again, you know what's weird about this whole dynamic? Hear me out, by the way. I'm not shaming people for liking this kind of thing or liking the movie, but it's like almost infantilizing. Like she's teaching him how to be a human being and learning how to read, and I find that kind of like, it's just a little bit strange. I don't know, maybe some people are like into that, I guess.
Exotic fetish. It's a metaphor.
Yeah.
And a good one. The Shape of Water is very interested in the concept of otherness. It's what compels the romance at the heart of the story. Eliza, a cleaning woman at the research facility where the majority of the story takes place, is mute. She's mistreated by her superiors who look down on her because she can't speak. One day, a mysterious tank arrives at the facility containing a fishman captured from the rivers of South America.
Damn.
He suffers cruel experiments at the hands of the Colonel, the same man who torments Eliza.
No! Hassan reference!
Eliza. From their very first meeting, Eliza and the fishman feel a sort of kinship. Neither of them can communicate with words. They both know what it's like to be the other.
Okay, that's kind of cute.
To Eliza, the fishman
Sure.
isn't a monster. He's sensitive. He's caring. He's
Sure.
able to look past her disability and see her for who she is.
Whoa! Whoa! I blinked and she... Whoa!
And see her
No! Whoa! Chill!
for who she is. I move my
Bro,
mouth
he could tear your... What?
like him, she signs. I make no sound like him. What does that make me? They may both be treated like outsiders by the rest of society, but in each other's eyes, they're just two misfits in love. I think that's why the monster romance in The Shape of Water works so well. The fishman is
Sure,
Eliza's
it's like
fairy tale
fish
prince,
sticks, yeah,
gills
she
and
does.
all, but he is, importantly, still a monster, still the other.
What happens
The story
at the
takes
end?
place in Cold War era America amid a culture of distrust in anything different. And within that context, the fishman is as different as you can possibly get. Eliza's love can't change that. Stories like The Shape of Water prove that the monster can be recontextualized into a lover while remaining a monster. Not every monster romance story is like that. The fishman feels somehow different than the monsters in, say, Monster Musume or Sucker for Love. And you could say it's because he looks more like a monster.
Yeah.
An otherwise conventionally attractive anime girl with some tentacles, horns,
and
or
some
something.
boobs.
I
Some
find
honkers.
monster
Some
a
fat
difficult term to
honkers.
apply there. But I think there's something else going on here too. Something a little deeper than just the looks. Let me introduce you to Ella Gallego, a researcher, maybe one of the only ones in the whole world, who has conducted an entire study on monster fuckers. It's called Monstrous Desire. It was
Monstrous
invaluable
desire.
to my research here. One of the few places I was able to find real
That's what I was saying. Exactly. With his Discord, survey, I thought that was quite interesting. They should do a study on it.
data
So they got
about all
ahead
of
of
this.
me.
She was kind enough to talk with us a little bit about her work,
45%.
and when we did, she said something that really struck a chord.
It's How many of those were women? How many of the correspondents were women? I'd love to know. Like, please tell me.
When we did, she said something that really struck a chord for me. She said that the monster is inherently
I fucking knew it! I knew it! I knew it! Oh my god, I knew it! I fucking knew it. How many people did they test? Over 1,000. That's not a small sample size. We need to up that number to 10,000.
on the fringes. If it
Freaking
loses
why
its core
women?
trait and becomes something that's
Why
not
women?
an other, it loses what it means to be
70% of the respondents were from the United States. Interesting.
monster. I think that's what happens in a lot of monster romance stories. Sometimes the monster, rather than suffer in a world that doesn't want it, is made to fit, made acceptable, ordinary. And then I have to wonder, if it isn't an other anymore, then what exactly is it? This is more.
I'm telling you, you guys remember, before the shoe video, I showed you guys the TikTok of the woman that talked about the morning milking farms and she explains it to the man or her boyfriend. So I'm not saying that. I think the algorithm really pushed that TikTok meme to everyone. And I think, like, this guy probably had the idea. Like, we can't escape this because it went into the cultural zeitgeist of, like, the internet. Wait. No.
Morning Glory Milking Farm.
How much money? Wait, I would love to see the sales statistics for this woman. I would want to ask her how much, like, money she made off of this going viral.
By C.M. Nacosta. Perhaps the single most
Best-selling,
analyzed
by the
book
way.
in all monster fucker media.
Yep.
Seriously, people have written a truly shocking amount of actual academic analysis on this thing. And yes, I did read it. I read the whole thing. Consider it a demonstration of my professional dedication. You're welcome. Morning Glory Milking Farm is a story I can only describe as incongruous. It's an erotic romance between a woman and a minotaur.
Uh-huh.
In some ways, it's surprisingly aware of itself.
Mm-hmm.
But unlike The Shape of Water, this book is also supposed to be comfortable. To use a more academic term, cozy.
It's more modern, because that one is a little bit too far with, like, you know, the Cold War and stuff, and it's a little bit too ugly, whereas the Minotaur described in here is more human-like, if that makes sense, because he can talk, he has a job, he talks about, like, his 401k, I'm pretty sure, as well, and how he can be her sugar daddy. It's like,
the Minotaur love interest isn't really a monster at all.
He's still a cow? No. This is more human than the Fishman version, is what I'm saying.
Rich and attractive. People like him. He's just sort of a nice guy. Creatures like him are normal in this world. They're just people here with lives and families. The only thing that makes this particular one monstrous, really,
I didn't read this shit.
is how he can be sexualized.
Yeah.
He's a Minotaur. He's super tall, muscular, and very well endowed. His sexuality is even a major plot point, being commodified by the eponymous milking farm where he meets the female protagonist. It is, shockingly, actually a factory which collects, let's call it, Minotaur milk. To make a sort of fantasy Viagra for humans.
Yeah.
The love story is sort of framed as an act of rebellion against this exploitative industry. But in the end, the lovers end up thanking it for bringing them together. That's what I mean when I say that the story is incongruous. The monster loses what it means to be a monster. Morning Glory Milking Farm intentionally flirts with themes like class, gender, and politics.
It talks about capitalism, too, and how she's a college girl with a lot of debt. Yeah.
It never meaningfully addresses those issues in the way that The Shape of Water does.
No.
If it did,
it's just smut in the guise of, like, being deeper. It's so fucking stupid.
Well, it wouldn't be so cozy anymore, would it?
He's like a crypto
I'm not
bro,
saying that every
kinda.
monster story needs to be some sort of social commentary, but every monster story is, in some way, about otherness. The Shape of Water offers a way to reflect on how you might relate to that otherness. Morning Glory Milking Farm fetishizes otherness, presenting it as safe and desirable. These stories are both monster romances, but they speak to very different fantasies. It all comes down to context.
I would argue that the Fishman movie is more artistic, because this is just smut. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to be mean for the sake of being mean, but, like, this is just smut.
Where are the monsters, and what is it that makes them monstrous? This is what monster fucking does. The very exercise of indulging this fantasy is, at the same time, an interrogation of your own boundaries, your experiences, the culture and the world that you live in. It's a fantasy that requires the deconstruction of those boundaries. In a very real way, monster fucking is the act of towing the line at the edge of your world, where the monsters are.
Yeah.
I mentioned the hear me out trend earlier, the one where people compare their weirdest crushes, the cakes.
Some of these are so tame, and then there's just, like, girls who, like, want to pork a car because of the voice. A lot of these people don't understand that they want to pork the voice actors behind the character. They don't want to actually, like, do the car. Yeah, like, again, I can't help but feel this is almost disingenuous. Like, you know what you're doing. You don't want to actually stick it in a car.
There's one thing I didn't mention about this trend, and
also,
that's
Elastigirl is not a monster. She's just a superhero. That's pretty tame.
just how intense it can get. You'll find a lot of strong opinions out there about what even counts as a hear me out at all. For some, the Beast from Beauty and the Beast is unconventional enough to qualify.
Yeah.
Others will tell you that he's not that weird, and the real hear me outs are like the great ones from Bloodborne or something.
Yeah, I can see that. That would be a hear me out, yeah.
There's even a side of this
I'm okay, I'm alright.
discourse that frames the hear me out as a test of morality. If your hear me outs are too basic, the argument goes, then you're a narrow-minded prude, or even worse, intolerant of people who are different from you. It's...
And then these people take it too literally and say that, like, certain races are certain monsters. We're actually circling back to what I hate the most about people that superimpose or, like, just juxtaposition different races in the real world to, like, you know, how people are different or, like, disabled or whatever, and, like, trying to make it, like, about compartmentalizing people's, you know, innate characteristics into monsters. And then it just becomes this, like, oh my god, like, stop trying to make fantasy into, like, a real world analogy. Yeah, like goblins, orcs, whatever. Like, it's just so fucking dumb. Again, I'm not saying that this is what this guy is saying. I'm saying that's what people extrapolated into. It's like, stop, man. It's not that deep. People just want to pork monsters. It's not about race.
A lot. But remember, monsters are dependent on context, which also means that how you define a monster depends on the context you come from. I found this illustrated really well in a Tumblr blog. Shocking, right? It's called the...
Hold on, before I listen to this. Japanese people really love tentacles. So it is a cultural thing. I do believe that. I do. It's because they're an island and they have a lot of seafood. That was, like, part of the reason why they were so down bad that they wanted to pork octopuses. Yeah, for real. I actually think it's a cultural factor.
Hear me out, Worthy Poll. The way it works is a little unique. People don't actually vote on whether or not they think a character is hot. Instead, the point of the blog is to see if it's even worth debating. In other words, it's a bunch of Tumblr weirdos, bless their souls, trying to figure out what might qualify as a hear me out to a normie.
Uh-huh.
The results are, again, interesting. If you've been on the internet for any amount of time, you'll know that Tumblr is sort of its own unique culture. They have their own set of pretty notorious...
Is Tumblr still around? Like, do people actually post there?
Beauty standards over there. Some of the most iconic sex symbols in Tumblr history include Bill's Cipher, Sans the Skeleton...
What?
And of course, the Onceler.
Dude, Tumblr needs to get nuked, man. I remember people just posted, like, coffee pictures on Tumblr.
Ever heard of the Tumblr sexyman archetype?
No.
Suffice it to say, attraction just works a little differently over there.
Never heard of this shit. Am I old or something? What the fuck is this?
So, as you can expect, when they try to decide what a normie might find attractive, well, I'll let the polls speak for themselves.
All right, here we go.
According to Tumblr, some obvious normie hear-me-outs would include Death from Discworld, the tall gargoyle from Disney's The Hunchback
I mean, it's a monster. I'll give him that.
of Notre Dame, Gonzo the Muppet.
What? What? No, come on, this is trolling. This is 4chan, like, hijacking the poll and, like, putting in a bunch of votes. There's no shot. Let him cook.
This is exactly what I find so interesting about Hear Me Out as a trend. More than anything, it shows what individual people consider to be monstrous. It also reveals something about the context they're coming from, and how that context determines what otherness is to them. It's a contentious trend because of how personal it is, and how many different opinions are involved. At its core, Hear Me Out is an exercise that allows you to ask yourself, can I break down my own boundaries? And what would happen if I did? So, in a way, monster fucking is the act of choosing your own monsters. Because the first step in setting your own boundaries is also finding them. It quietly begs the question, if you didn't choose who the monsters are, then who did?
Man, we're getting into philosophical territory. You would go, like, nature versus nurture. You would go through your life experiences, how your kinks developed, if you have any kinks. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough little cookie. But hear me out. What if I don't want to break my own boundaries, but if they're for a reason? That's also a valid point. I do think there's valid to being vanilla and having vanillaism. Yeah, this all begs the question of like, what is morality? What kind of experiences do you have as an adult or as a child, unfortunately? Some people would argue that certain kinks come from bad experiences as a child, not necessarily sexual or in nature, but like, you know, like it depends. It depends. It depends.
After all this conversation and all this research,
Vanilism.
You know,
I mean, yeah, vanilism.
I wouldn't fault you for still kind of thinking monster fucking is a joke. I mean, however seriously you try to take it, they're still called monster fuckers. It's a word I've been saying for this whole video with this straight face.
Yeah.
You'd think it would be a simple idea, but researching this was actually way more daunting than I expected.
Oh, okay.
Being a monster fucker is a deeply personal thing. Like Eliza from The Shape of Water, some people can relate to how the monsters are treated. They see their own otherness mirrored within the monster. For some, it's about empowerment. They want to believe that they're...
I think there's a merit to people's personal experiences and what they want in a partner, but that ultimately caps out with intelligence on a personal level. Because some people just want to fuck something for the sake of fucking something because they're so brain rotted, if that makes sense. Because hold on, hear me out. Not literally fucking. I'm not talking about fucking something. The movie with the fish man can be interpreted through a normie's eyes as a beautiful masterpiece of like a deaf mute woman or whatever being able to communicate with another human being or an alien-esque figure, and then that's like a interpretation of like how we're all different, but at the same time we can still communicate with one another through our disabilities. But then if you look at it from the lens of someone who's just unironically horny as all hell, that they just want to pork the thing that is different because they're so brain rotted and they want something to feel something, right? They want to feel differently about a human being that they want to pork because it's not something, because normal things don't arouse them anymore. And you would argue like, oh, the porn industry, how the internet has warped and changed internet culture and sex culture. Sex culture has shifted over many, many, many years. Even though we used to have monster fuckers back in the 1800s and the 1600s or whatever, like millennia ago, ultimately the internet has made that so easy to access. Whereas you used to have to find it in a library, you had to rent a book, or I don't know, spend thousands of hours looking for the book back in the day, probably through markets and trying to find people who have those things in common with you. Now you turn on the internet and go, hey, is it okay to fuck my toaster? And then you have a bunch of retards who also want to fuck a toaster, and then you have a fucking toaster board. It all begs the question of like how much of this is influenced through the propagation of technology and information, as opposed to like human need to like, you know, breed, or, you know, being so overtly horny. I don't know. I think it's a little bit of both, and it's also a little bit of propagation through the internet, I would say.
Love can reform even the most terrifying beasts. Romancing the monster can even be an exercise in self-love, embracing a representation of your own flaws and anxiety, the things that scare you about yourself.
Really?
As one Redditor put it, if a
Ooh, that's actually a good point. I don't think that's a bad analogy or a bad interpretation, because there's some people, I think, this is a funny example. Tricky made a VTuber model. She paid money for this to make a VTuber model of a spider woman because she's scared of spiders. And it's like apparently, don't quote me on this, I may be wrong because I only heard this in passing through like clips and stuff. She made this because she was so afraid of spiders that if she's role-playing a spider lady, maybe it'll help with her, you know, her spider phobia. Overcoming fear through horny. Yeah, you can kind of rewire the brain. I can see merit to this. Yeah, I can see a merit to this angle.
Monster could be beautiful to someone, then I could be too. There are as many reasons to be a monster fucker as there are monsters to love. Ella, the researcher I interviewed, left me with this thought. There's so much flexibility in monstrosity. It's a lack of categorization and boundaries. It can be extremely helpful when engaging with desire. And I think she's right. I think there's a reason this caught on and a reason it stayed here. I think as an exercise, it's just legitimately useful.
Is it?
If you really want to figure out...
I also think it like gives into your carnal desires, and then it can also warp your brain to expect, you know, your boyfriend or husband, or if you have a wife, to have massive honkers. I don't know. I can also see the negativity or the negative aspect of giving into your carnal desires and saying, I really want to pork a werewolf with like a 9-inch peepee. And that can like, I don't know, it's not gonna happen in real life. Like, how do you convince yourself to be like a normal human being if you just constantly sate your desire on the internet or in books or whatever, and then go back to your partner who's obviously not a fucking werewolf or whatever? Only 9 inches? What the fuck, you guys? What do you mean 9 inches is a lot? What the fuck? That's a huge... What the hell? You guys are... Guys, are we okay? Why did you guys type only 9? You guys are freaky. What?
your own boundaries to determine who the monsters are to you rather than be told by someone else?
That's huge.
Well, maybe the monster fuckers are onto something.
Are they?
Okay, the research for this video was an absolute rabbit hole. Never in a million years did I think I'd be reading Morning Glory Milking Farm for a Tail Foundry video, but here we are. Honestly, it was a ton of fun.
Cosplay as a monster, hear me out, go get a woman. You're gonna laugh at this, but I have seen, again, because I got that stupid milking farm trend on my TikTok, I've also gotten recommended men cosplaying for their wives as serial killers, like putting on, the ghost face mask and like pretend kidnapping them in order to like reignite their attraction to them. And it's like, that shit fucked me up. I was like, how? Like, the guy, like, good for them for, I guess, being consenting to it and like not being forced into it, but like, what the fuck am I guess.
But it took a little bit of effort to stay sane during all of that.
It's the algorithm.
I sort of had to temper all the introspection.
For the record, I'm not into it, man. I don't want to get kidnapped and like killed by a ghost face. I'm okay. I'm alright.
Philosophy and
is this role playing? I know, but still, like,
something
it's
a little more concrete, something nice and direct
They're
and
adults.
rational. So, I've been learning some programming on the side. If you told me a few months back that I would someday enjoy coding, I would not have believed you.
Oh.
Now I'm learning how to use Python, and I haven't even broken a sweat. I've technically never broken a sweat in my life, but you get what I mean. In fact, compared to all the research I did for this video, I would call the programming stuff positively soothing. I think a huge part of that is just where I've been doing it. All these clips I've been showing you, they're from an app you may have heard of before. An app called
He got a Python. He gonna pork that Python.
Brilliant, designed exactly for this kind of learning. Whether you're an expert or a beginner like me, you can start at your own level and work at your own pace. 5 to 10 minutes a day whenever you have a little spare time. It's like a real legitimate education right there on your phone or your computer. To give it a try, visit brilliant.org/tailfoundry or scan the QR code on screen. You can actually get started for free. Then if you want to sign up and get unlimited daily access to everything Brilliant has to offer, you can use that same link to get 20% off an annual subscription. Scan the QR code on screen or click the link in the description to get started. Again, that's brilliant.org/tailfoundry for 20% off an annual subscription.
Overrated, sloppy.
Thanks, Brilliant, for helping me keep all the thoughts of Minotaur milk at bay. I really needed that this time.
That was a good video, though. I liked it.
Anyway, that's all for this one. Thanks for watching, and keep making stuff up. I'll see you next week.
What do you mean? Does this clanker want me to spread misinformation? He just said make stuff up. What's wrong with this guy? You can't just say that to your audience of like 1 million subscribers? 1.3 million, excuse me. All right, I'll make shit up. All right, I can't think of anything. I'm too truthful. Ah! I'm a truther. I can't lie. Alana, it's a story and writing channel. Shut up. Didn't ask. Hassan was born poor. Quick, make something up. Fuck. Hassan was born in a cardboard box.